standing by. The Terry and Ted podcast is brought to you by the UPS Store Canada, now with over 400 locations across Canada.
Welcome to the Standing By podcast for the 29th of October, 2025. I'm Terry DiMonte, and that's Ted Bird. Hello, Ted Bird.
Is it the 29th already?
It is the 29th already.
Are you sure about that?
Well, have you seen the pumpkins?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people go all out in making up their yards, right? Turning it into like a Halloween themed fair in their yards. It's almost like a carnival, some of the houses around my place.
Yeah, big on the West Island. Very big in NDG, too.
Yeah.
We were in NDG last weekend and noticed that. We have guests on the podcast, and we're not going to keep them waiting. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see them join us in just a moment. But first, we want to tell you about our title sponsor, the good people at the UPS Stores Canada. Pardon me. If you are worried about the ongoing labor strife at the post office, you shouldn't be, because when it comes to shipping across the country, it doesn't have to cost you a whole bunch more. Until the end of December, the UPS Store is offering lower rates on UPS domestic standard ground shipping within Canada. You'll save up to 30% on the regular rates, and you'll get all kinds of reward members. As the UPS people say on their website, one of the reasons it's great to ship with UPS, you get faster delivery, you can accept larger and heavier packages, and there is a pack and ship guarantee you can read about on the website. There's over 400 locations in the country. You'll be able to find one in the Tuxedo Park Shopping Center in Winnipeg. If you happen to be listening to the podcast in Winnipeg.
Tuxedo Park Shopping Center.
That's right.
That's an interesting name for a shopping center.
On Corden in Winnipeg. You can find one in the Crowfoot Plaza in Calgary, near where I used to live. And you can also find one on the Isle of Parrots.
There you go.
Yep.
The Isle of Parrots or Vaudreuil, both run by our good friend Jason Liverman and his wife Stacy.
And all you got to do is go to the upsstore.ca, and you can find one of the 400 locations. I think there's over 400 now, from coast to coast to coast in the country. Our thanks to the UPS Store Canada.
They still don't have one in Churchill, Manitoba. They've tried, but the polar bears keep eating the franchisees, so it hasn't worked out.
We would not be good business consultants for the UPS Store Canada. I invited a couple of friends in this week. I've known these people for a very long time, and they just had the occasion to celebrate a really, really big, I think, anniversary in a very, very difficult business. They're proprietors of the Monkland Tavern in the Monkland Village, just celebrated their 30th anniversary. Barb Irwin and Josh Crow are our guests. Hello, you two.
Hey.
Hey there.
Thanks for having us.
So the Monkland Tavern opened when Barb was 5.
That's
You're
right.
so kind.
That's right. Barb, I'm going to ask you a question that everybody asks now, and I hate when interviewers ask this question, but how did it feel, the 30th anniversary?
Oh, it was pretty overwhelming. I got to be honest. Like, I kept having to go outside and be by myself because there were so many people there that I hadn't seen in so long, or it was a lot of love. And it was really nice to see like customers popping in just to say hey and leaving, grabbing a bite and leaving, and just people that used to work for me for like over 30 years.
The other thing that I like too, and you must have enjoyed this, Josh, is a lot of fellow chef owners from across the city, from some really popular and successful restaurants, came by to tip their cap.
It's a lot of fun, you know. Like, we are part of a big community in Montreal, a big like chef and restaurant community, and it was nice to see all those people actually come out. And you know, we celebrate everyone's sort of milestones, and we're all friends in this industry. So it was just nice to see everyone there that day.
My theory is, and tell me if I'm wrong, I told Barb this story, and I think you too, Josh. In 1985, I remember there was a lot of rolling eyes when somebody bought the Monkland Tavern. Everybody thought, what are these guys crazy? There's nothing in the Monkland Village except boarded up places. And everybody has given you credit for turning the Monkland Village into what it is today. Do you accept that credit? Do you agree with that?
Well, I have to give the credit to Mike McKell from the Claremont. I
Okay.
really do, because it was his idea, and I was just on board with it. I worked there the first day and only bought in like 8 months later. But he had a real vision, and he always had a vision about everything. Like, he opened the Claremont and made it a huge success.
Yeah.
And he, but yeah, I do agree that it changed the village.
Because that's what happens, right?
Yes,
It's kind of like what happened with Joe Beef on Notre Dame.
exactly.
Eh?
Yeah,
Is that-
100%. Yeah.
that's
Dave,
accurate?
Dave would say the exact same thing, like even when we were speaking recently, he was saying that we're very much akin in the same way that, changing the face of a neighborhood, it really does take a restaurant or a bar, some sort of
Something,
place
yeah.
where people can go and gather and become a community together. I think that's what's really important, and that's what the tavern is.
Is there a key to sustaining that? Because it seems like the quote unquote scene moves around, right? Is there still a scene on the Main, for example, on Saint Laurent above Sherbrooke, which was really happening in the 90s? Is there anything there now?
I don't see much, but I'm also not going out.
Yeah,
in a
nor
miniskirt.
am I. Nor am I. But
Yeah.
let's go back to the question then.
Yeah.
What's the key, or is there one overriding key to sustaining that kind of success and popularity?
I think not being too trendy, don't you?
Yeah, and I think adapting to changes that happen, socially, but always staying true to who you are. I think that is really important, and I think that's what we've
Yeah.
always done. So
And also being a part of a community, we have tons of repeat clients from the community, but we also give to a lot of charities that are in the community. You have to, it's a give and take. You can't just expect to take people's money and not do something for them, I think it's important.
Could you tell the story of how the two of you, because you've just recently become the sole owners of the place. Can you tell the story from the beginning of how that came to be? Because you started there as
95.
Yeah, and you were waitressing, Barb?
I was waitressing the first night we opened.
Right. And Josh, you came along a few years later.
yeah, it's about 14, 15 years now.
And you started in the kitchen.
Yep, and that's it. I was the chef basically from day one that I got hired there. But obviously my role kind of
Yeah.
became a little bit more after a while. So
And how does that happen in the restaurant game?
I guess it's really like you have to sort of show your chops and everything like that. You really have to.
And who moves you along? Who says, this guy's a star, let's move him?
In that case,
Was
it was
that you,
Barb.
Barb?
It was
Yeah,
me.
it was Barb.
Because it was funny because I was up there, I'm not sure what everybody knows this, but my business partners, our former business partners, own Tavern on the Square. So they were all down there working, and I was kind of up at the tavern by myself and constantly changing chefs. They were all great, but it wasn't, they didn't have a kinship of the way I felt about sustainable food and stuff like that. And then Josh came along, and I was just like, wow, I can't lose this guy, because he will be taken, because people were coming in and going, who is this guy? We want to, I think even Dave might have offered you a job, Dave McMillan. But I went to my business partners and I was like, we got to give him some shares or sell him some shares, because we need him to stay on. And then the rest is history. Then we bought them out.
And now you're the sole owners
Yeah.
of the place. What's the machinations behind the scenes of, I heard you on the Salt Lake podcast with Leslie Chesterman and Dave McMillan, and you were talking about dishes that appear and then disappear, and then there's pushback from the clientele. And if you've ever been to the Monkland Tavern, you know there's a menu, but there's also a giant chalkboard. So every time I go back into the restaurant, you gaze at the chalkboard for the days. How do you make that decision? How do you make the decision of what comes off the menu? When I would listen to you guys on the podcast, I heard you talking about a tower what was the tower that you hated, Josh?
So that was a previous, that was Stephen Leslie's dish from back in the day. And, I moved to Montreal sort of when the food scene in Montreal was changing. We were going from the 90s and 2000s, and food was becoming a little bit more serious, I feel like. So dishes like that, like salmon tartare and vegetable towers and all these things are a little bit passé. It doesn't really fit into my style.
Right.
But yeah, basically just making that decision is really about, sometimes it's as simple as just, oh, we're sick of making this. Let's try something new. But my food is really controlled by the seasons and the market and the availability of certain products and the sustainability of certain products. So that's why food is ever changing at the Monkland Tavern. However, the quality is always there, so.
Is it like a performer? Because the confirmation of what you're doing is the success of the restaurant. So as a chef, if you decide these are the things that I want to present, what's the pressure like in terms of and acceptability? If
it's huge.
it is, eh?
Yeah, it's
because it is a creative endeavor, right? It kind of is like a performer. You go on stage that night and you hope it goes well.
Yeah, 100%.
Really,
so
eh?
It's we as chefs, we all kind of live and breathe this. We don't turn this off. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Food is kind of like it's what we do and it's what's ingrained in us. And sometimes, the stress is a little bit high. The older I get, I feel like I manage it a lot easier now. I don't find it as stressful. But,
More confidence?
More confidence,
As you get older? Yeah.
I also feel like, my style has matured a lot more. I like things that are more simple now. There's a lot less, frou-frou technique that is just kind of people showing off. I really think that this, serious food should just be ingredient forward, and it should be well thought of, and well, executed, well, almost a philosophy needs to be communicated to the customer itself, So yeah, it is a creative performance all the time.
Barb, somebody asked me the other day, knowing that I frequent the restaurant, they said, "So what kind of restaurant is it?" And I couldn't describe it. So for people who are listening to this and have never been to the Monkland Tavern and don't know what we're talking about, it's a restaurant right at the top of what I refer to as the top of Monkland Village. And it's a homey, lovely, warm atmosphere. And then I don't know what else to say. Like, how do you describe
cuisine,
it?
a little bit of French, a little bit of Italian. We make all our own pastas. I consider that very, like traditional Italian, but quite a bit of French, wouldn't you say? Or
there's a lot of French. There's a lot of, that's, I feel like, the base of how I learned how to cook. So
yeah,
that definitely comes through. But market cuisine is probably the best way to describe it. We are very much, things change all the time.
It seems so vague to say market cuisine. Though.
Well,
market cuisine.
I don't know what that means.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really
None of
hard.
us do.
Like when I hear Monkland Tavern, I immediately think of
Pints?
and a burger. Yeah. Is that what it used to be?
Yeah.
And,
It's the
and
real
did you
thing.
did you have to make a conscious decision to keep the name while you were changing the style?
That was before me, but yes, they did keep it because it was like it was considered, I think, one of the oldest tavern signs, in Montreal.
Because I think of a bunch of old guys sitting around talking about Dickie Moore and Doug Harvey while drinking pitchers of beer when I hear that.
While sitting beside Doug Harvey.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was.
Or
It's
Glenn.
true.
Yeah.
Because it was an NDG.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. And it's true that clientele was pissed at you guys,
Oh
weren't
yeah,
they?
they were angry.
Really,
There
eh?
were some
Yeah.
older men that came by and the garage door was open because we'd put in a garage door. And they were like, "You stole our home." And I was like, "Really?
Oh, God.
Come on,
Well,
guys."
listen, the only thing that's constant is change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Here's an old man question for you. Have I ever been there?
Yes, for lunch. You used to come for lunch.
I did, eh?
Yeah, I don't remember. I used to actually, I'd see you there for lunch. I'm trying to think of
All
who you
right.
came with.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Well, I must come back then because
Yes,
it's been a
please
while.
do. Please
Is
do.
it true that somebody told me the chairs and the tables were from the original tavern?
The tables are. The chairs have been replaced, but
Yeah.
they were originally the same style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something. Let me ask you a question about Jess and I, my wife and I, had such a terrible time food-wise when we lived in BC for a few years. We often had a conversation about what happens in Montreal. And I know there's a little bit of it in Toronto. Josh, you would be able to speak to it more in Ottawa. A little bit of it in Winnipeg. Can't comment on the Maritimes. But there's a chef-owner restaurant scene in Montreal unlike anywhere else in the country. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're right. And my choice to move to Montreal too was really because Montreal was the food mecca of Canada for the longest time, and in my opinion still is. we're definitely on that international level. I find that sometimes, we're even more interesting than things that are happening in New York City. And I really think that the restaurant scene in Montreal is by far one of the most interesting ones in the world. I think it really has to do with like the access to all the product and beautiful things that we have that grow around us and like, that are fished in our waters and everything. So yeah, I think it really is.
It's got. There's something more to it than that. Is it because Montrealers are so demanding in terms of where they go to eat?
There's probably
or
some
did
of
we
that.
become demanding because we have all this choice of
Perhaps.
Chicken or the egg,
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you never hear people talk about, like in Vancouver, when we lived in British Columbia, everybody always talked about the chains, the Earls, the Cactus Clubs. But and that was our reaction. And
that does not speak well to the culinary scene, does
no,
it?
No.
and I when you talk to a Montrealer, people talk about Arthur's and the Monkland Tavern and Joe Beef and Liverpool and Papillon and all of those things immediately come up, and it seems to be almost like an ecosystem that Montrealers have to have.
I think we like to go out. I think that's a huge
part of
thing.
it.
I think that to be able to have as many restaurants as we have in Montreal and all be making money at doing this is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I think that really just speaks to Montrealers wanting to go out and have a drink.
Cultural mindset.
It's cultural.
I think it's a cultural
I think it is.
mindset, really.
Yeah. And it's the Monkland Tavern is a gathering place.
Yeah.
Everybody
knows each other.
Yeah, and it
community.
has that vibe of when you walk in, you recognize people recognize each other, and when you walk by it seems like a place where everybody should go and everybody knows your name, to borrow an old phrase from a TV show.
Very popular.
What's the toughest thing about running a restaurant, keeping it successful?
Eesh. That's a huge question. I don't know. Go ahead.
Staffing.
Yeah, staffing, but I've
Staffing
got
is hard.
a really great staff,
Do
as
you
you
ever?
know.
Yeah, I do.
We're really fortunate. Like Josh has been with his guys in the kitchen for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen in the restaurant business.
And
And my front staff's amazing.
Go ahead,
Because
Jeff.
of the turnover?
Yeah, the
Josh?
turnover, and I think it's
And
not,
that's just the nature of the business,
it's
right?
the nature of the business, and I feel like young people aren't as interested in
Really?
working in restaurants anymore. I feel like a lot of people, it's a stopover for something else that they're going to do in their life, So people don't understand it as a career, which is a little bit unfortunate because people like Barb and myself, we've made our lives out of this, So I wish more people would see it.
How are you coping with what's going on? Anybody who's been in a grocery store in the last couple of years knows, you have to make tough choices.
Yeah.
If you have kids at home and you're walking up a grocery aisle, you're saying, Jesus Christ, I can't this week. What's that problem like in the restaurant world?
Well, I know that I notice it in the clientele that the people that used to come maybe more than once a month, they're coming once a month or maybe once every 2 months.
Really?
People aren't having a bottle of wine; they'll have one glass of wine. Yeah. It's just a whole shift, or they'll be sharing a lot more dishes. Still trying to get the experience of going out, but spending less, which I completely understand.
And does it alter what you're going to decide to prepare, Josh?
Yeah.
Sure. With that being said, it means that the volume of food that we're producing is not as much as it used to be. Mm-hmm. But I still am trying to do something of quality, which means that I still have to spend quite a bit of money on ingredients. And unfortunately, that has to be translated to the customer too. So I think that really does affect, it's kind of like it's a snowball effect. People are a little bit more hesitant to spend big money on things. So I try and do, cheaper products, cheaper fish, cheaper meats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it definitely changes the way that you have to think about what you're going to do. So.
I get the sense, when I was listening to you guys with David and Leslie, I get the sense that, and the night of the 30th anniversary, I got this too. There's a real community in all the chef owner. Everybody seems to know each other, and everybody seems to try and support each other, which I thought would run contrary to running a business. You look at them as, those are our competitors. But that doesn't seem to be the case in Montreal. Everybody seems to want to give everybody else a leg up.
Yeah, we're all really supportive of one another. I really like that.
Where did that come from, Barb? How did that start?
I don't know. Just the way we are, I guess. I don't know. What would you say?
I feel like it's a little bit newer. Like there was always that camaraderie, you know, like we always got along. But I think since COVID, it really
you think
changed
so?
things a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
think the people that were able to survive that, I think we're all a little bit closer together now. You know, and
How did you, by the way? That was going to be one of my questions. I remember the COVID era, and I remember how excited we were when you put the picnic table on the corner outside.
Yeah.
Jess and I were able to put our mask on and come outside and sit at one of the much sought after picnic tables so that we could all sit 50 feet away from each other or whatever it was. How did you guys get through that?
wasn't easy.
No, we did a lot of work on our own, just Josh and I at first, and before we were allowed to be open again. And he taught me how to cook everything, which is
So you had to let everybody go?
yeah.
Wow.
So they were on Serb, and then we it is Serb, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then we brought people back because we started doing delivery. We wanted to do delivery, but we didn't want to use Uber because we didn't think that they would really respect our food. Like you're selling people shucked oysters.
Yeah.
You want them to get there as fast as possible,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so all our staff that had cars were drivers,
Really?
including ourselves.
Wow.
Like we had people that packed, people that answered the phone and took
Yeah.
the orders, people that cooked, and people that drove.
And you also set up a store,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I
At the
think
same
helped,
time
eh?
at the
Yeah.
store.
And the store, whose idea was that? Because it was quite clever.
It was kind of both
Probably
of
both
ours.
of ours,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like Barb and I only really spent 2 weeks off during COVID, and then after that we were talking all the time, and
Yeah.
I think it just kind of like naturally evolved to be the store, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I kind of miss it sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. I really do.
It's a
I
different-
don't. When you said before we were allowed to be open again, I thought to myself, "Oh my God,
my
did
God.
we really go there?"
Yeah, we did. And the part of COVID I miss is the empty rooms and no crowds and no people.
Yeah.
No
Where-
lineups.
Yeah.
Wearing your mask outdoors at the picnic table.
Yeah.
Hope I don't die.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
you're good.
My other favorite one was on an airplane. You had to wear your mask until you were eating your food.
So
Yeah.
stupid.
It didn't make any bloody
Yeah,
sense.
and in
Yeah.
restaurants, you didn't have to wear it at the table, but if you got up and moved
You're
around,
standing
you
up.
did.
Yeah.
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 We all went, okay.
And
There-
all those stupid plastic dividers.
Yeah, the
Dividers.
dividers. Yeah, some people have left those up, which is a bit of
What?
a drag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's.
ridiculous.
Arrows in the grocery store
Yeah.
aisles was another one of
Yeah.
my favorites.
I forget where Jess and I were somewhere recently, and they had the plastic dividers up, and it looked like it was just, it wasn't a big fancy restaurant, but it looked like they
You
went.
sure it wasn't Halloween decorations?
No, I don't think so. A lot of places are beginning to. Monkland is becoming really, really vibrant again, and there's new places opening on Monkland. Do you encourage that, or do you go, "Oh shit, competition"?
No, we encourage not facing a bunch of boarded up
Really, eh?
places. Yeah,
Yeah.
just it's not a good vibe when you get out of your car to come to our place and there's a bunch of empty spaces across the street.
Get out of your car.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can't even park there.
Where are you?
anymore.
Where are you going to put your car?
Exactly. Good point. Good point. When you
but-
get out of your car 5 blocks away and then you walk
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But we don't want to be a destination place either. We want the whole village
Yeah.
to be kind of a vibrant place where there's choice,
Yeah.
So people are making their way down there.
Well,
to
that's
see
good
us.
long-term thinking because
Yeah.
that's good for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, everybody wins. That's how you've been there for 30 years.
So you don't need me to shake down the competition? I was thinking about becoming a one-man mob enforcement agency.
Can we just quickly address that? I know there's a lot of people in NDG, not just NDG, on Saint Denis, Saint Laurent, other places, where it's been a bit of a challenge with recent administrations in terms of their idea of how to run a city and their ideology. Has that proved to be a challenge? Like on Monkland, as a guy who used to live just up the street, used to be able to park for a couple of hours along Monkland. They took all those parking spots away, turned them into 10-minute spots, 15-minute spots, I think.
I think so. And also put in gardens where there were parking spots.
Yeah,
and-
they love gardens and picnic tables. They really enjoy that. And one-ways and bike lanes. And as business owners, does it affect you?
Yeah. There's
It
no
does.
park. At one point, they finally moved it, but I think it was only because of the street festival and they never brought it back. They'd put a Bixie stand in the only parking spots we have on the side.
Right.
And I've called the city and I'm like, you got to move these.
Right.
Like, I'm all for Bixies, but wouldn't you put them somewhere where there are no parking spots?
What, not so close to businesses, maybe?
And they told me I had to call Bixie, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay. So that, when I read articles about this and I hear, yeah, that's great. Everything is great. Business owners love this. No. That's not necessarily true.
No.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's great to have a green city. It's great to have people biking all over the city and all that stuff, but it's not the reality for everyone.
Yeah.
We are a big city. We're a metropolis, You can't get everywhere on your bicycle.
Yeah, and clients have to drive to you.
Yeah, I mean, I still, how we feel about the restaurant. It's a destination for us.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing we think about as we're on our way into the city. We think,
where are we going to park?
Christ, where are we going to park? Yeah. Another 30 years coming, you think?
Hopefully.
Okay.
For him, maybe.
Yeah. What's the least favorite thing for you, Barb, about the restaurant business? Is it the hours? Is it?
I couldn't. I've tried the 9 to 5 thing. I couldn't
Couldn't do it, eh?
No, it's not for me.
You, Josh, same thing?
Same thing. We're definitely a different breed of people, that live the nighttime, But
you can't just go into it thinking, oh, it's going to be a big party and I'm going to get to bed at 9 o'clock.
If you hated the hours, you wouldn't be doing what
No,
you're exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. What's my least favorite thing? Getting a call from the alarm company at 5 a.m.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
had broken into our place. That's kind of annoying.
Thanks for coming in. I wanted just to celebrate the 30th anniversary. I think it's remarkable. I had like a brief little tap dance with the restaurant business a few years ago, and it's difficult and it's long and it's arduous and it's so many things that the restaurant I was associated with, I think we lasted 2 years, 3, something like that. It's such a difficult business. 30 years is really quite remarkable. Congratulations.
Thank you. We couldn't do it without people like you. You've been so supportive.
Well,
Honestly.
Obviously, I'm overdue for a return trip,
Yes.
so
I love it.
I'm going to come back. Let me know how I enjoy it.
Barb Irwin and Josh Crow are the owners of the Monkland Tavern, who just recently celebrated their 30th anniversary. One of the best restaurants in all of the country, if you're asking me.
Wow.
And my wife. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Irwin and Josh Crow from the Monkland Tavern for joining us to acknowledge their 30th anniversary this week on the Standing By podcast, partially brought to you by our good friend Sugar Sammy.
International comedy sensation,
Yes.
Sugar Sammy. Here's how international. He just did the Riyadh Comedy Festival. He just did some shows in Dubai. He is now bound for England, where he's got a show in Manchester, November 21st. Couple of shows already sold out at the Soho Theatre in London, England. So he's added a pair for the first week of December, and then back home for shows in Montreal and Quebec City beginning in January and not continuing into February because that's when he's U.S. bound. But shows in Montreal on January the 22nd through the 25th, and then off to Quebec City for January 30th and 31st. Then he's U.S. bound for a 19-city American tour that will include stops in Miami, Orlando, and Tampa. So if you're a snowbird,
You'll be able to see him there.
See Sammy in a club atmosphere down in the States. Tickets available at sugarsammy.com.
It is a great website, by the way. You can watch some of his clips, some of his crowd work there, and it's such an easy website to navigate, and it also gives you a warning when tickets are quickly disappearing, and they do.
Yeah.
They disappear quickly.
And clips as well from France, a beaucoup de talent, as we call it, which
Yeah.
is not the name of it, but
Yeah.
it's basically the French version, the French version of America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And Sammy is one of the judges.
Yeah, and now a big star all over France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Let me read you this note, Ted, from the Gaspé. We forgot to read this a couple of weeks ago. This is, hi, Terry and Ted. Wanted to let you know I've been an avid listener since the beginning. What can I say? I love that you guys make me chuckle and reminisce about my 8 years in Montreal. I'm Gaspésian through and through, but Montreal is my city. Lived there from 96 to 04. Listened to you both. And I want to give a shout out to my brother, Danny, since he introduced me to your duo moons ago and listens to you guys weekly from down here. And I wanted your listeners to know that you're not just blowing smoke up our arses about your sponsors. Thanks to you, I had an amazing welcome and service at Merson's this summer. And when I was gifted a mint condition 2007 Acura, they told me I didn't need the expensive inspection. The original tires were another story, and they saved me much more than just money. And then for my last trip in September, we reserved Sugar Sammy tickets, who I'd not heard of until I was listening to you guys. Holy crap, was that worth every dime? I came out of there with sore jowls. Thanks for making my Wednesdays more enjoyable. Have a good one, and go Jays go. That came from Nancy Gall, who I guess is back in the Gaspé region.
Yeah, that's a nice story about the Mersons.
Isn't it, though?
And that's why we have spoken on their behalf for these many years.
Yeah.
Mersons are trustworthy, and they provide you with honest and good service. You can trust the Mersons to do the right thing with your car and to never hard sell you anything you don't need.
So much so that my wife, who just recently bought a new vehicle at the beginning of the year, said to me, I'm not going to the dealer to get these tires on. I want to go to the Mersons.
Yeah, and an electric vehicle too, right?
Yep.
And the Mersons, all their mechanics are trained
well-versed.
well-versed in servicing and maintaining electric vehicles as well as the traditional, what do you call them? Internal combustion engine vehicles.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Internals bustins.
Yeah. That's why you should go to the Mersons and not come to me.
We've known them for such a long time. Can't recommend them enough. Corner of St. Jacques and Cavendish. You can also call them at 487-5545. But if you live in Montreal and you're listening to the podcast and you call them, give them a few rings. It's pretty busy right now.
Yeah, you can also, I believe, make an appointment online at mersonauto.com.
Yeah. This is kind of funny. I just got a text. I'm going to put my phone down from our good friend Mario Lefebvre. Mario sent me one of these memes that's going around. It says the clocks go back an hour soon. An extra hour of 2025 is like a bonus track on a Yoko Ono album. I thought that was quite
I haven't minded 2025.
No. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, the COVID years were what I hated.
Yeah. Well, those are behind us. Thank goodness for that.
So we're recording on Tuesday, October 28th, the day after Game 3 of the World Series, which the Dodgers won in 18 innings. How late did you stay up?
We made it to 11.
11, eh?
Yeah. Not 11 o'clock, 11 innings.
I was up until the... I watched the 16th, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up this morning, and I saw that Freddie Freeman hit a game-winning home run in the bottom of the 18th inning.
If you're watching on YouTube, Ted has his baseball glove with him, which I didn't know he brought in.
I brought that I was watching last night. Yeah. They all do that. We were talking about this last week when they have a conference on the mound.
Yeah.
The players all put their gloves over their face.
Yes.
So you can't read their lips, and the manager puts his hand over his face. And it's almost at this point, it's just a trend.
Well, it's just
they never used to do that.
No, I know
They never used to do that, and you see it in football too. And the coaches put the clipboard over their face.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid that
someone's going to steal the play.
Yeah, they're afraid they've got lip readers up there with binoculars, and they're going to steal their signals or their secrets.
I don't know how you would steal a football play, because football plays are Army boot 7 iron cracker 2 left on 7 go freaky. What? Well, what are you saying? Every time they go into the huddle, sometimes you hear some of the plays too.
Yeah.
And they have the most ridiculous terminology for different plays.
Yeah.
And they give it all that terminology, and it basically means you run and then cut left.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like when we used to play touch football, it was go deep. I'm going to do a down and out. You go long and you go down and out.
Yeah.
Or if it got really complicated, it was down, out, and down.
I agree with you. I think it's a trend now that people think they're lip reading. And do you know what I don't understand this business of some guys are wearing earpieces. The pitcher's wearing an earpiece. The catcher, do you know anything about that?
I just know that it's a communications device for signals. If you watch the catchers now, I don't think they do signals.
They don't.
They used to with their fingers.
Yeah.
2, 3, 1, 2, and there was a code, right?
Yes.
Like the third signal I give you is the signal for the pitch I want you to throw. So I think they have communication now verbal communication between the pitcher and the catcher. I might be mistaken there, but I think that's what that is.
Somebody will write us and tell us, I think.
Yeah. You know what I hated in Game 3 was that the Blue Jays intentionally walked Shohei Ohtani 4 times.
Yeah.
And I get it. He hit 2 home runs and 2 doubles, so they didn't want to pitch to him. But this isn't Little League.
Mm-hmm.
If your pitching staff got you to the World Series, it should be good enough to figure out, not figure out necessarily how to get Shohei Ohtani out, but make him beat you. I hated that. I just intuitively hated that. It was like in Little League, don't pitch to Spike because he's twice as big as the rest of us, but you're lobbing 20-mile-an-hour grapefruits at Spike,
Yeah.
A major league pitcher should be able to figure out how to at least challenge Shohei Ohtani. I just thought it was. I thought it was cheesy. I thought it was chicken shit and bush league.
Well, it's isn't it part of the chess game that they keep referring to between the two managers?
I guess so. And there are certain situations where you can intentionally walk a guy. If first base is open and you want to set up a double play and you got a dangerous hitter at the plate, sure, maybe walk him. But I just thought it was really Little League.
What inning did you give up on?
I think I watched it through 16. It
was
you
about, did?
Yeah, it was about 1:30
Holy
or quarter
shit.
to 2 in the morning, and I finally went, I can't watch this anymore. Like, it got to the point where I was cheering, I want the Blue Jays to win, but I wanted the Dodgers to win that game.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to be over.
You wanted to go to bed.
Yeah. As somebody said to me on Twitter, you've wanted the Dodgers to win all along. And I said, no, I only want them to win this game.
So I can
because I want to go to bed.
What did you think about the, Jess and I were talking about this just this morning, the NBA gambling. Do you know about the NBA gambling story?
I'm familiar with I don't know the nuts and bolts of it, but I know that there was some game fixing allegations, and the FBI busted them. And I saw Kash Patel. Kash Patel always looks like somebody just walked in on him masturbating. Like he's got those big bug eyes and that look on his face, like nothing. What are you doing in there? Nothing.
I can't help think about it now. Gambling has become so
ubiquitous.
prevalent. Ubiquitous is a better word. That I find, and I'm not one of those guys. I've never been one of those people that goes, "It's all fixed."
No,
I never understood that. However, with the amount of money that's now floating around and the encouragement that gambling gets from all major league sports, I now find it creeping into my thought process when I'm watching any sport. The other night, when there was that invisible penalty for the Habs when they were in Edmonton, I briefly thought to myself, I wonder.
Yeah, the thought crosses your mind. I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Me
and
too.
I do.
Yeah.
But it only takes one bad apple, right?
Yeah, and I think the leagues have made a huge mistake tying their wagon to
by
this.
getting in bed with
with
online gambling
and
in
now
particular.
with the technology, you can bet on almost anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and the big gambling companies are major sponsors now.
Yeah.
Money talks.
Yes.
Money
Yeah.
talks. At the end of the day, money always talks.
Yeah.
30 years ago, it would have been unheard of. You couldn't mention gambling in the same breath
No, and
as Major League Baseball or the National Football League, or you'd be run out of the league.
I'm not sure.
Look at what they did to Pete Rose.
And baseball's part of it now too. And I'm not so sure this was a good idea. And I wonder if, I know the money talks, and that's what that's the main driver. But I wonder if some of the leagues are regretting their association with, I was going to say betting companies. There's so many betting companies now. It's crazy.
Well, they might regret it right up until they check their balance in their account, and then they go, "Oh yeah, that's why."
Right, we're doing that. Before we continue, I just thought I would quickly say hello to Shannon.
Shannon has gone away.
Oh boy,
she's drifted off. Now you've gone and done it.
Now I've done it.
You better not say hi to anyone named Brandy. Brandy, you're a fine girl.
Fine girl.
What a good wife you would be. Oh, God.
Shannon is the owner of the William J. Walter store in Saint Sever. They just opened this year. William J. Walter is a sausage place, wiener company.
Yeah, only men are allowed?
No. It's
not that kind of sausage
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Okay.
They do homemade, really, really excellent, wonderful stuff. We really, really love it. It just recently opened in Saint Sever. They have one in I don't know where all their locations are, but they have one in the Atwater Market. And Shannon was telling me about how things are going in Saint Sever. And I had one of those moments where I was asking her if she, had a certain kind of product. And she said to me, aren't you Terry DiMonte? And I said, I am. And we had a conversation about the days of yore and how her business was going. So I wanted to say hi to her. And I also bumped into Grace and her husband at Cardiogenics. Grace was in the waiting room and she said, you came to my house in RDP in 2005. And we both looked at each other and said, that was 20 years ago when we were doing one of our broadcasts. So I thought I would say hello to those folks. And when we were talking about baseball, I wondered if you noticed Colonel Sanders.
I did.
Eh?
Yeah.
Wasn't that odd?
Yeah.
Wasn't that interesting?
I think that was I believe I read on social media.
What was it?
That it was a promotional gimmick, like KFC. Yeah, KFC dressed a guy up and I guess
No kidding.
Spent the money on the ticket
That
to
was
get the
pretty
good seat.
smart.
Yeah, that is smart.
Yeah.
I saw Colonel Sanders at Palais des Congrès.
Did you?
Last week, except it was Lech Wałęsa.
Oh,
the former president of Poland and founder of the Solidarity Labor Movement and Nobel Peace Prize
tell
winner.
me how you ended up seeing, I thought that, I didn't know you were going, and I saw it on your post, and I thought, that's really cool. This is a living historical figure.
Yeah, your friend and mine, David Garfinkel, sent me a note a few weeks ago and said, I've bought tickets to see Lech Wałęsa. I think that's how you pronounce it in Polish.
I think so.
Wałęsa. Yeah, it's spelled
so.
Wałęsa.
Yeah.
So you and me and Lou Silver are going. Lou is a friend of David's and a great guy. So we went and we listened to him speak he spoke for about 10 or 15 minutes about his experience in leading the Solidarity Labor Movement, which he was probably as critical a figure as anyone in the eventual demise of the Soviet Union and the fall of the Berlin Wall.
I think that's where it began, actually.
Yeah, it did. That is exactly where it began. And then he became president of Poland. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1983. And what was interesting, he spoke for about 10 minutes, and then he opened it up to questions. And there was the Q&A session was a lot longer than his speech, which I thought was great because he gave the audience an opportunity to ask him questions. And people asked him about his experience as the leader of Solidarity. And a couple of people asked him questions that I wanted to ask him, one of which was... the information landscape right now is so different than it was then, and it's evolving with such rapidity with social media and artificial intelligence. How do you navigate that? How do you know what's real, what's not? How does that affect political stability and continuity? And he said that at some point we're going to have to put restrictions on the information landscape. And he was also a big proponent of globalism. And Lou and I turned to each other, and Lou and I think the same. Lou and I turned to each other, and Lou said to me, didn't he spend his whole life dedicated to overthrowing that kind of a system, a globalist kind of system, greater good system that puts limits on things like freedom of speech? And I said, yeah, that's what I thought. So I guess his thinking has changed, or he has adjusted his thinking with evolving times. And I didn't agree with a lot of what he said, but it was pretty cool to sit there and see this, living historical figure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would have been just cool to be in the room.
Yeah, it was.
The world did tilt.
Oh, did it ever?
When he did what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole world talked about him and what happened.
Those were historic times, but the change was so gradual at that time. And now, because of technology, change is like it's hard to keep up with change.
Yeah.
It's so rapid now.
It is.
Yeah.
It's tough to deal with. I was told this week Cott isn't making black cherry anymore.
Oh, no.
So that's one of the things that's
why even bother going on?
We were at the Snowden Dell for breakfast on the weekend, and the gal said, Cott doesn't make black cherry anymore.
Well, is anyone making it?
Yeah, they brought us a really, really good alternative. I forget what it was called, but it was really, really good.
Is there a soft drink company called Stewart's?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make good stuff. I only recently discovered them.
Really,
I had their black cherry. It was excellent. I can't have a smoked meat sandwich without black cherry cola.
This is the thing, and they were telling us at Snowden Dell that a lot of people have been complaining because it's not caught. And apparently, some people say they don't make it anymore. Other people are saying it's a slowdown. Other people are saying Cott ran into trouble financially. I don't know what the answer is. But if you, like you say, have a smoked meat sandwich, it's hard not to have a black cherry with it.
Expand your horizons and try a different brand. That's
what I thought. Yeah. We should say good day and hello to another one of our sponsors. I know that our good friends from Robert Richer Jewelers are still in Antwerp, or
Pierre has left for Antwerp.
Oh, it's left for Antwerp.
He left on the weekend. He's there now. He's already posted some pictures, or Linda has. I forget if it's on their website or on her personal website. And I sent her a note this week, and I said, I know Pierre's already in Antwerp. If someone has questions or inquiries about his trip to the Diamond Factory, can they still get in touch? And she said, absolutely. And let me get my looking teeth in.
Yep. Reach for the looking tooth. Yep. Okay. Here we go.
Pierre goes twice yearly to the Diamond Factories.
He's invited. He gets a special invite to go, which is really impressive.
And it's the diamond capital of the world, and he has access to the finest diamonds in the world. And Pierre knows his stuff. He's a veteran professional gemologist. She says, folks can text the store at 514-631-8971 or email me at linda@robertricher.ca, 514-631-8971 or linda@robertricher.ca if you have any questions that she can forward to Pierre about diamonds. And, I know it's one of those things that you're not shopping for every day, but, if you've got a big event coming up, or as we've said before, Linda says December is the most popular month for marriage proposals, be a good time to speak with Linda and or Pierre if you're thinking about getting a rock for a special occasion. You won't do any better than you'll do with them in terms of expertise, quality, and price.
And also, if you're looking for a simple gift that, doesn't venture into the cost of a diamond, if you're looking for a gift of a pair of earrings or a necklace, great spot to go. On Dorval Avenue.
RobertRicher.ca, 309 Dorval Avenue, right across from the Magic Forest.
And there's parking at the Magic Forest.
There is,
which is really something.
Yeah, I was in the Magic Forest the other day.
Were you?
I was, yeah.
What's your take on, this is the thing now that I find when I'm in a social situation, and I thought I got to ask Ted about this. The fist bump versus the handshake.
Yeah.
The fist bump.
I'm not a big fist bump guy.
Me neither, but it's overtaking the handshake.
I don't know if it's overtaking the handshake. We can check with Mano, our producer. Mano is, are you Gen Z, Mano? Yeah. Do you guys do fist bump versus handshake? Really? Always?
Always fist bump.
And is it just because that's what you do, or is it because you don't want to get germs? Okay.
What do you say?
He says it's habit.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, well, I guess it's generational then, because for me, I'm a handshake guy. And I know that a lot of the comedians, when I do stand-up comedy, when you go up on stage, traditionally, you exchange handshakes with the host or the MC. And I've had a few occasions where it's been really awkward because the host they're younger guys generally on the scene. They're younger than me. Yeah. So the host goes for the fist bump, and I go for the handshake. And the last time I did a show, I went to shake the guy's hand, and he held out his fist, and I shook his fist. Like I wrapped my hand around his fist and shook it.
But that's the moment where it gets awkward.
Yeah.
Because sometimes somebody extends the fist while you're extending the hand, and then I squeeze to make a fist, and they open their hand.
Exactly.
And now you look like a real couple of tools trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And
well, you gotta figure that when you're going in, think about the demographic. Okay, how old is this person, and what are they probably going to do?
I also think there must be some occasions where a handshake is more appropriate.
Yeah, I think at the G8 summit, you're probably not going to see a lot of fist bumps. You'll see more handshakes than fist bumps.
I would imagine if you've just signed a big deal at a big law firm, there's not a lot of fist bumping going on.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you sign a $17 million contract in a hockey office, do you seal that with a fist bump?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I guess it's
more of a casual thing.
Yeah.
Circumstances.
That's what I think.
Some circumstances, I think, demand a handshake and not a fist bump.
Okay,
but that's just me. We're old.
Well, yeah, but I one of the things that bugs my ass about this we're old thing, there's old locked in a room, not going out, not not reading, not being current.
Yeah,
and then there's retired but still living in the real
still
world.
Dignified.
I think so.
Yeah. I must say, and I'm proud to say, both of my sons are handshake guys. They're 26 and 24. I've never seen either one of them fist bump.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they run into their buddies, it's a handshake, and sometimes they go in for the hug and the pat on the back kind of thing. Which that's not our generation. That's I'm not a hug and pat on the back guy. Yeah. Someone tried to hug me the other day, and I was like I stiffened up like a piece of hardwood.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Well, it was someone I knew. It wasn't. I hadn't just met them. But how you doing? Good. And he came in for the hug, and I was like, no, don't.
There's a great scene in The West Wing where Bradley Whitford, who plays Josh, he goes to lean in to the chief of staff, and he goes in for a hug, and the chief of staff says, "What are you doing?" He said, "I was coming in for a hug." And the chief of staff says, "Boy, did you read that wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe they read you wrong. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the gesture, but we can leave it at a handshake.
The old thing is something that I've been thinking a lot about lately because it keeps coming up, and I think we're too hard on ourselves. You and I both do it. My wife gets mad when she hears me when I say that. She says, "Stop saying that," because it's kind of a mindset where you know, like I get it when you're trying to get out of what's those chairs called on the
Adirondack chair.
When you're trying to get out of an Adirondack chair, you sort of feel your age. But do you feel 66?
No,
neither do I. That's because I'm 67.
Yeah, but no, I know what you mean. Yeah. So
it is the last bastion of isms. Ageism is that's okay. You can call someone a stupid old bastard, or just say, well, you can dismiss them because they're old, or give the old thing that I love so much, okay, boomer.
Yeah,
and it's so dismissive.
Yeah, Lech Walesa actually dropped an okay boomer the other day.
He
said he was talking. No. He said he was making fun of himself.
Oh, okay.
Because he said he was having a conversation with a younger person, and they said to him, "Okay, boomer."
Oh God.
So the Adirondack chair thing that comes from last week's tweet sheet. Do you want to do this week's tweet sheet?
Absolutely.
Let me first of all give a shout out to Playground Poker, one of our sponsors. Charlie and I finally went to their steakhouse the other day, etc. etc. And on Wednesday nights, they have a special. We had bacon wrapped filet mignon with fresh vegetables and French fries and a chocolate tart for dessert. $30.
Oof.
$30.
Wow. So
$60 for the both of us.
Wow.
Plus, the cost of our soft drinks and whatever. But We got out of there for a shade over $100, a high-end steakhouse. Two of us ate and had dessert and had our drinks for a shade over $100, and because it's Ganawage, no tax.
Oh.
Playground.ca on the 138 on the South Shore, and they got us in and out pretty quick. They didn't rush us.
No.
But the service is, they keep it moving because they know people are there to play the slots or to go play poker. You're not. Well, we were just there to eat, and then we walked around. And played a little bit of slots. But it's absolutely fantastic. It's such a big time place. The World Series of Poker is coming back to Playground, I think, for the third time in 2025. And the numbers are eye-popping. There's like 7-8 figure numbers when you're talking about the World Series of Poker. And just first class all the way. You've got to just go and see this place. On the 138 in Ganawage, Playground Poker for poker and for slot machines, electronic gaming like blackjack and what did they call it the other day? The twirly game? Roulette. Yeah.
Want to play the twirly game? You got your card, eh?
I did get my card.
Good.
That's the
Nicely
most important
done.
thing.
Yeah.
Go online to playground.ca, get your player's card for free. You pick it up when you're over there. It takes 5 minutes and you're on your way. It's the strip without the trip in South Shore Ganawage, playground.ca.
Tweet sheet time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What made me laugh on Twitter this week, and I think you're going to like it as well, Ter.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting for Mano to bring them up on,
Here we go.
On the screen here.
All right,
Here's the
here we
first
go.
one from @CoolMathGame. Gambling my beautiful 3-year-old son who I love's diaper money on football. Look, dude, if this doesn't hit, you're just going to have to shit your pants.
Speaking of betting,
Yeah.
you can bet on anything.
That's right. Yep. From @HolyMowgli, why do public restrooms put the penis warmers so high up on the wall? Those aren't penis warmers. I suppose you could use it for that if you're an acrobat. And I loved this one from @CornJerker78. Well, can you look in the back? Sasquatch in a shoe store. Probably not going to have his size on the rack.
Cornjerker78.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
sure
title on
is.
Twitter. I watched this week some of the stuff. We'll talk about some of this. First of all, I'm not watching a lot because most of our time in the house have been taken up by watching sports.
Yeah.
With the Blue Jays and football and
the
Premier
Habs.
League soccer and the Habs. We haven't been watching very much, but we did watch Who Killed the Montreal Expos this week. And I know you watched it. You had the same reaction that I did to it.
Yeah.
It was,
First of all, it's on Netflix, and if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch the French version with English subtitles, because I don't know about you, but when
Yes.
I turned it on, the dubbed version came up right away.
yeah, we went right to the French thanks
Yeah.
to you.
I was a minute in, and I went, no, this is wrong. I don't want to hear these Quebecers
Yes.
with an actor's voice dubbed over in English. I want the real deal.
Yep.
And it's important to have the real deal. And some people said on my Facebook page when I posted about the show, they said, well, it was okay, but the dubbing was terrible. You don't have to watch the dubbed version.
Yeah.
Find the French version with English subtitles.
And it's really, whether you're a baseball fan or not, it's a look back at a certain era in Montreal that I really...
And a big story.
Yeah, and
the
a big
demise of the
story.
Expos
Yeah.
was a big story.
Yeah.
We had and lost a Major League Baseball franchise in this city.
I saw Rob Braid in the footage. I was at, I don't know if you were there that day, but I went with Ted Blackman, I think, and a few other people from the radio station, including Rob Braid, the day that Jeff Loria was spewing his bullshit about what he was going to do. Anyway, I highly recommend it, especially if you're from Montreal or lived in Montreal in that era. It's really, really an interesting documentary.
We're going to have Perry Giannius in studio next week to talk about it and to talk at some length about the Expos. He's the founder of Expos Fest, which is a big deal every year, and a lot of former Expos come back. Randy Johnson, the big unit, is coming back in 2026. Yeah, so Perry's going to talk about it. You know, I'll say this much after having watched it. I didn't learn anything from it that I didn't already know.
Mm-hmm.
I learned some details about things, more details about things that I already knew. And, my takeaway is that multiple factors contributed to the demise of the Montreal Expos. I think that Claude Brochu had his heart in the right place, but didn't execute things properly. I think that Jeffrey Loria and David Sampson were always the snakes in the grass who we thought they were. I think the stadium played a huge part in the demise of the team. I know they lost me as a fan because I don't want to get on the subway and go all the way out to Peanut and Sherbrooke and sit in a shitty stadium with no atmosphere to watch baseball. If they had built a downtown stadium, I would have still been on board.
We'll talk about this next week when he comes in. I think Major League Baseball had a hand in it too, but that's just
absolutely
my
they
opinion.
did. And another takeaway from it was that, and I really this warmed my heart. Pedro Martinez loved this city as much as we loved him.
As did Felipe Alou.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a big part of the documentary.
And Larry Walker, too.
Yeah. And somebody who was featured prominently in it was Roger Brulat.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Roger, within the last week,
well.
underwent cancer surgery. They found a cancerous tumor on his spine. Roger Brulat, 78 years old. I don't know if he was an Expos broadcaster right from the get-go, but if he wasn't there right from the get-go, he came along not too long after the founding of the franchise, their first game in 1969. And nobody called a ball game like Roger Brulat. And I've got a clip from 2018. The Blue Jays for a couple of years came into town at the end of spring training and played a couple of exhibition games. And the Big O was packed. It was absolutely packed. And this is a clip of Jacques Doucette, who was with the Expos from the get-go. He was the radio voice of the Expos for the entirety of their existence. So he called this game with Roger Brulat, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits a home run here, a walk-off home run at the Big O, the packed Big O in 2018. And you'll hear Roger. Jacques Doucette makes the call, and then Roger weighs in. And this is just so Roger Brulat.
La balle est frappée avec force en direction du champ gauche. Et elle est partie! Vladimir! Bonsoir! Elle est partie! Guerrero! Luc casse en l'air! On danse! On chante! Le rêve est réalisé! Guerrero! Merci pour cette fraîcheur dans le stade!
That is genuine enthusiasm.
You think that guy loves baseball?
He loves baseball, and that's not an act. That's Roger Brulat. That's genuine enthusiasm for the game and for the people in the game.
Looked it up. Started in 1969 with the Montreal Expos.
He did, eh? So he was there right from the beginning.
In sales and marketing. And he was hired in 1984 by Sika Asi to serve as the color commentator. And in 1990, he moved to RDS and stayed with the Expos and RDS until their demise in 2004.
Well,
so from the get-go. Yeah.
Godspeed, Roger, and we wish you a
all
quick
the best.
recovery.
Yeah. Just such a... Like enthusiasm doesn't even begin to describe it, eh? It's really something. A couple of other things that I was going to mention this week that I started to watch. I started to watch the Martin Scorsese documentary. If you're a film buff, this is an absolute must. This is a 5-part, I think it's a 5-parter, where Martin Scorsese sits down with the filmmaker who's done this documentary, and right from the get-go talks about from, his childhood in Brooklyn and his origins in Sicily. Just really, really, really good. If you love movies, you are going to love this. And as I mentioned, we've been just watching sports. So I haven't had a lot of time. There's a lot of things on my list that I want to watch, but haven't had a chance to get to a lot of different things. I mentioned the Ozzy Osbourne documentaries last week. There's one on YouTube from BBC. There's one on Paramount Plus, and believe it or not, after watching both of them completely, I preferred the shorter one on YouTube on BBC. The one on Paramount Plus was longer and had access to the live show and whatnot, but I just didn't find it as good. The one on YouTube is called Coming Home. And you don't have to be an Aussie fan. It's just a fascinating story about a rock and roll god.
Icon.
Icon.
Do we know, or have I asked you about Mobland and another season?
It's coming.
It is,
Yeah,
hey?
it's coming.
So it's in production?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it is coming back. Yeah. I know a lot of people had mixed opinions on it.
Really?
Yes.
Who wouldn't like Mobland?
There are some people that said, it was. Some people said it was too violent, and it's art. It's subjective, right?
Yeah.
But it's been renewed for a second season, and Paramount said it set records for viewership.
No doubt.
On Paramount
Just
Plus.
so well done.
It's
and I didn't think
back.
it was, me, I faint.
Yeah.
At the sight of any kind of violence, and I was good with Mobland.
Yeah. Landman is coming back with.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Thank you.
SAS Rogue Heroes is coming back for a third
Keep your
season
eyes
in
peeled for all of
2026.
these.
That's on Prime. That's a great World War II series, and I've always enjoyed World War II history and historical drama. And what's interesting about SAS Rogue Heroes, my favorite scenes are not the battle scenes; it's the dialogue.
Yeah,
it's the dialogue and the acting that makes it so good.
I love that guy. He's such a great actor.
The guy who plays Patty,
the guy that was
Patty
in the
Main.
dress.
Oh, him. Yeah, that's
oh my God, he's
Dominic
a good,
West.
Yeah, Dominic West.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Plays the cross-dressing colonel.
Yeah,
and that's a true-to-life character.
Yes.
That guy actually existed.
Yeah, he's in everything. He was in Downton Abbey, and he was
in The Crown.
Yeah,
who did he play in The Crown?
The guy with the
Prince
thing.
somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of princes, I'm thinking about applying for Duke of Windsor.
Hey, you should.
Yeah,
the job is open.
Yeah, it's available.
The gig is open.
Yeah. Apparently, Prince Andrew, who has stepped down or has relinquished his title.
Yeah,
as the
I don't
Duke
think
of
he was
Windsor.
stepped down. I think he got a bit of a shove.
You think Chuck gave him a call?
Yeah.
I say, old boy, bugger off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I heard yesterday or the day before or last week or 300 years ago, apparently someone in Dubai has offered him a castle to go live in. So they got all right, eh?
Got it ready for him if he wants to flee.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
Can I get a castle?
No, I don't think so. You wouldn't want to live in a castle, would you?
I'd give it a shot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's too big. It's like it has those long dining room tables that you used to see in Bugs Bunny cartoons. There's one guy, you're two of you having dinner and you're like, 130
you
feet
apart. You got to phone the person at the other end of the table. Yeah.
Can you pass the salt?
No, there are people to bring you the salt.
That's true.
Yeah.
I forgot. There you have people for that.
And in Dubai, they'd probably, maybe you could get a harem too, and that would be right up Andrew's alley.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also ugly, eh? It's such a really...
Yeah. It's a stain on the royal family.
It really is. And I read about it because I like to read. And I like, as I was saying earlier, to stay up to date with things that are going on in the world. But I always feel like you need to have a shower after you read the stories about them.
And the Queen was so dignified.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
and if you know the story of the Queen and him, she doted on him. He was kind of a favorite.
Really, eh?
Yeah,
And the black sheep, that happens a lot.
Yeah,
you know that?
yeah.
The black sheep can often be the mother's favorite for some reason.
Yeah, and once Mom was gone, I think it was like, okay, that's enough of this.
Yeah. I don't think the old man was any help.
No. He was of another era.
Yeah, he sure was.
I highly recommend, if you get a chance, there's a show called The Traveler with Eugene Levy. It's on Apple Plus or Apple. It's just Apple TV now. And Eugene Levy from SCTV fame was apparently within his family notorious for not wanting to go anywhere. He didn't like to travel. He didn't like to fly. He didn't like to go anywhere. So this show is called The Reluctant Traveler, and they thought it would be funny, and it kind of is. They send him to destinations all over the world. And this season, one of the most talked about episodes is he sits with Prince William. Prince William invites him to the palace for a quick tour.
Prince William, the heir to the throne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they go for a pint at a local pub. And it is such a fascinating interview because Prince William knows he's not with the British press. He's not with a news person. He's with Eugene Levy, who he's a fan of. And they have this remarkable, candid conversation. And the prince talks about some of the ideas he has about moving the monarchy forward. And it made such a huge splash in England because the British press were pissed that Eugene Levy got the access.
Really?
They were, really livid because it was the first time he agreed to sit down for a sit down like this. And it's a bit of an eye opener. So if you have Apple TV and you haven't looked at The Reluctant Traveler, go looking for the episode with Prince William. It's fascinating.
Well, William is of another generation.
He sure
and
is.
Probably recognizes that legacy media
Yes.
is yesterday's news.
Yep.
And so that would be part of taking the monarchy in another direction.
And he makes reference to his grandfather in this.
Oh, he does.
He
does
does. Yeah. Yeah. Not in a cruel way.
Yeah.
But he acknowledges that his grandfather
that he is of another era, as you said.
has a different kind of spice from the era that he grew up in. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's the royal family.
Right.
So,
and the grandfather was Prince Philip,
Yeah.
who was Queen Elizabeth's husband.
yeah, and he was known to make, comments that set the, set tongues wagging.
He grew up in the 20s
Yeah.
and 30s, so
Yeah.
40s. So
Yeah. Let's give our friends at Accutech a shout out. I was having a conversation this week. We have our good friends Tim and Val in town. Tim is probably my oldest friend. I've known him since he was we were 13 and in grade 7, and we've been lifelong friends. And we were having a conversation about how we both live in the country now. Because he lives on a lake in Ontario, and I live up in the Laurentians, and we started to talk about generators. And Tim's a lot better versed in that world than I am. And he said, "Well, what kind did you get?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, is it installed?" I think so. And it turns out that I found out from my wife that our generator is propane. So Accutech couldn't have helped us with that. Mm-hmm. But if you are starting to think about, and who isn't, if you live in a rural community, almost everybody has a generator, and Generac are the king of the generators. And the folks at Accutech know how to do this.
Yeah, they are Generac affiliated.
Yes, and they are, you have to be affiliated with Generac to get, Generac. You can buy a Generac generator, but you need to have the associated company do the work for you. Accutech does that. Accutech can also change your fuse box. Accutech can also redo the lighting in your house or in your store if you own a store. Family-run business has been doing it since 1995, and now I think have 8 trucks on the road going all over the place. They're based on the West Island, but they go anywhere. And as we say every week, electricity and electrical problems are not something we wish on you. And it's not something you think about on a daily basis. But when it goes wrong, and it inevitably does, you want to remember the name Accutech, ACUTECH.ca.
Every week there's something that I say to myself, I didn't mention that last week. I'll have to mention that. And then I forget to write it down. So when we leave today, I'll go, damn it, that's what it was.
Well, I've got a bunch of topics on my my legal yellow pad that we didn't get to. And that means I'm already...
All right, Maitre DiMonte, bring that back next week.
I'm already excited about the podcast next week. Is that it?
I think so.
Oh, shit. Wait a minute. One more thing.
Yes?
Can I just quickly read these? Got a nice letter from Moira Ross in Baynesville, Ontario. Wanted to respond to the comments we received about the drive-through story.
Right.
We told a drive-through story. We posted the clip.
We thought it was a warm and fuzzy story, but people turned it into a language
thing. Yeah. And she says, I live in Ontario and frequently shop at the Metro in Saint-Zotique. And she had a similar experience at the meat counter where it turned into a lovely thing. When I told them what I wanted in my broken French and their broken English, we had a great conversation. It was a great moment for all of us. I guess being a longtime faithful Habs fan who only watches games on RDS paid off. Thanks, Moira. I appreciate that very much. We got a nice note from Claude Gagnon who said, I stumbled on your podcast. No, I wasn't drunk. And I just love it. You guys are hilarious. Your stories and jokes bring me back to Chateauguay, where I grew up, worked downtown until 94, and then I got transferred to Toronto. I love the interview with Maxime Roy. What a great lady. Keep up the great podcast. I will be watching. And by the way, I will buy one of those mugs when you get them. Salut, boys. Merci, Claude. Appreciate that. Here's one that says, I've been a huge fan of Ted Bird since the Shome days. That is, I liked Ted a lot. I'm not huge. But the podcast reminded me of how delightful Terry is also to listen to. And the Standing By is on my A-list must-listen podcasts.
I guess that's not from the kid who said I suck sweaty old hobo balls.
No. It was nice of people, too, to say, I agree with the kid.
Only one person
was
said
it just
that.
one person?
Yeah. And I said, I forget what his name is. I said, hey, pal, I got some sweaty old hobo's balls for you. My treat.
This is a nice note from Bob Steele, who said, Terry, I'm so glad your open heart surgery went well. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. He said, as someone who just 2 years ago spent 4 months in the hospital and 2 weeks in the ICU, I agree with you. Nurses are indeed angels. Thanks.
Bob is a longtime fan and a funny guy.
Yes, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And here's one from Susan LaRue that says, your podcast is great. This is the first podcast that I've listened to. I still have to listen to your previous ones. I promise I'll get to it. Listen to you both on Shome. Keep it up. Really enjoy it. Thank you, Susan. We appreciate that. And I'm reading those notes to remind you that you can correspond with us by going to the website, terryandtedpodcast.com. That's where you can get information on the episodes. A link to the YouTube channel is there. And Ted and I read the mail every day, and we answer most letters that we get. Please, if you can, subscribe. Well, if you can, all you got to do is click a button. Subscribe to the
do it. No excuses. Don't make me come over there.
Subscribe to the Standing By YouTube channel, Standing By the podcast. Just go to the website. It's easy to find. And we'd like you to follow us. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram account. We're also on X, where nobody sees our posts anymore. It's true.
It's the algorithm. It's totally changed with X.
Yeah. And like 200 or 300 people. I still post.
We throw them up there to maintain a presence. Do you post on TikTok?
I do.
You do,
I do. We're on TikTok. I don't talk about it much because no one wants to see. Well, that's not true because there's a number of TikTok stars. Do you know Ron the mortgage guy?
No.
He's a guy from Ontario, a blowhard from Ontario. He's in the mortgage business. Mm-hmm. He's well-spoken but quite salty.
Okay.
He's a lot of F-bombs.
But he's leveraged TikTok to his advantage?
Yeah, massive TikTok star. And that, I don't foresee a world in where Ted and I become TikTok stars.
No.
But we do put our clips up there. So if you want to follow us on TikTok, we put them up there. And, I think a couple of hundred people look at them.
That's fine, yeah. Every little bit helps.
And we understand if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that helps an awful lot, okay? So I think that's it for now. Our thanks to Mano, our producer. A big thank you to Barb Irwin and Josh Crow from the Monkland Tavern to come in to talk about their 30th anniversary. And thank you, Ted.
It's been my pleasure. And I imagine the World Series will be over by next week. And go Jays go. And if you fucking walk Ohtani 4 times again, I'm going to cheer for the Dodgers.
Shall we fist bump?
No.
Okay. See you next week.
Standing By. The Terry and Ted podcast is hosted by Terry DiMonte and Ted Bird and is brought to you by the UPS Store Canada. The executive producer of Standing By is Jessica Dion.